Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're celebrating your next big breakthrough, your next victory, your next glow up, whatever terminology works for you and resonates for you about this. So this could be either something where you're getting through the odds, you're rising above competition or blockages, you're breaking through that, you're having success in that way, or it could be something that hasn't been so much characterized by blockages and so forth, but more it's just you've been patiently building and you're ready to manifest and bring something into being. So it could be either, it could be a bit of both. So we're going to have a look at that, look at what area in your life it is or areas, how there is any other transformation or transition that can help you, take it even to the next level and prepare you for the next challenge and the next victory, and kind of who you are at the end as a result of this victory, what you've sort of evolved to. So that's the journey we're going on. It's going to be unapologetically positive. We will look at if there are any blockages or anything you need to be aware of, but this is about you and about positive outcomes. So to help with the choice of which reading, so I've got 3 readings, more than welcome to go to more than one if there could be more than one area in life, because we are going to try and work out the key areas that are involved, and there is a logic to the tarot decks I've chosen there. I've actually got a different tarot deck for each, and there is an intentional sense in that I've sort of like built into this reading, and so you'll find out about what that is when you have chosen whatever reading or readings you want to go to. But if you're familiar with these decks, that might help you draw in. Otherwise, it's probably going more with the energy of the image and what you feel when you look at it, I would say, given that intentionality. And so I've chosen the 6 of Wands in each of the 3 decks, excuse me, because to me that's the sort of victory, recognition, breakthrough, glow up sort of card. There are other cards to help work out the nature and energy of your victory underneath this. I don't know what they are, so I'm aware of the intentionality of the decks, but I'm not aware of anything else, and Spirit's aware that I've built that intentionality in. But beyond that, it's all very much whatever Spirit wants to bring to the table. So for pile number 1, we have the 6 of Wands from the Art of Adventure Tarot. For pile number 2, we have the 6 of Wands from the Green Anvior Tarot. And for pile number 3, we have the 6 of Wands from the Ornamented Tarot. So as I say, this is one where I really would say, if you don't have a normal go-to number or something like that, maybe pause the video and really sort of like feel into the energy of the image you're seeing here, because there is, as I say, there is something intentional there, and that may help you with your choice. But as I say, by all means, go to more than one reading if you want. When you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I've got the timestamps in the description box below as always, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Art of Adventure Tarot. And now I'll reveal to you what the intention was in this particular choice of tarot, and it makes perfect sense with what I'm seeing here is a little bit more of a description of the energy and why you're going to be successful and how you're going to be successful. The Art of Adventure Tarot is a tarot. It has many colours, but there's a very strong blue energy to it. And if you've seen the back of it, it has blue very strongly in the colouring. And so to me, it talks about communication. It talks about the throat chakra. So I feel that if you've been drawn to this reading, there's something about your message, there's something about a way that you express yourself. So this could be anything from making a career, making a personal brand out of being a great public speaker or a great communicator or a great writer, or it could be sort of someone who is very much in the narrative of life and understands the narrative of life, but there's something about the power of your voice which is involved with your next breakthrough and your next victory. And it makes a lot of sense. I think there's a sense, even if we look at this card, the Art of Adventure Tarot is a kind of whimsical sort of deck. So there's a sort of whimsical thing of the person sort of riding on, I guess this is an ostrich, a pink ostrich, to have the sort of victory and so forth. But I think that there is something about bursting the pomposity or the false narratives of people who are not just the people in power, in whatever this might mean. It could be in your family, it could be in your workplace, it could be on the political stage if you're wanting to do that, it could be in how you write and communicate, you could be a journalist who really kind of like questions power. But there's something about that for you, because the divine feminine and divine masculine energy around this, you have a balance firstly with Mart that wants justice. So you are very balanced, very much of the mind, very intellectual. You want to see things that are balanced, and a lot of your voice and your victory is about bringing justice in one form or another. So as I say, this could be at the most intimate level in a relationship through to the world stage. But there is a sense here that things must be in balance. I feel like you're very eloquent. I think that you choose your words very carefully. You know the power of the word, you know the power of the written word and the spoken word. But you also know that sometimes it has to be a little bit whimsical, it has to be accessible. So there's a beautiful balance here where you bring the kind of clarity of Mart, but you also bring the whimsical sort of like capacity to engage. In fact, I'm getting that some of you could be quite comedic, quite satirical in the way that you do this. That might be, you might use that kind of thing, or or very use analogy really well, use sort of myths very well, all that kind of thing. But it's all in the service of clarity and justice. And you have a lot of energy to, as I say, cut down the pomposity of the falsely elite, all of that kind of thing with Typhon. There is anger and rage here. There is something that is really provoking you. So this is less likely to be a group that have been patiently working at something and just ready to bring it forward. I think that you are someone who pits yourself up against the injustices of the world in one way or another. And so you've probably experienced it. You're probably angry, but you're equally able to balance and use that anger and this eloquence to move forward. You are the provoker, the Grand Cross. You are someone who is going to make a difference, whether, as I say, this could be at any level of life, and right at the moment, this is part of your next victory. You are going to provoke, and you may provoke people. So again, I sort of feel like satirists. I feel like people who could be social influencers who are saying things, and it's not, I think you go against the grain of the established elite, or at least against the grain of anything that you feel is not just, and you will not be silenced. And as a result, you actually accumulate the life that you want for yourself. This is why it feels like you, by provoking and articulating and balancing that which makes you angry, that which you feel is unjust, in a way that is very compelling with other people, you're going to create the sort of life you want. And I think one of the things you may need to balance off in all of this is that you do have a strong sense, I think, of social justice, but you also want, like the interesting balance in this is that you don't just want to provoke the established order. You want to create a new order that you, in a sense, are part of. So there is an ambition in this. You're not just provoking just for the hell of it. You want to bring in something. I think you come from very good motives, but I think that there is definitely a sense of, you know, that you are at the level and ready to step up to the level where you provide an alternative, not just a viewpoint, but an alternative. So say you were a journalist, it's not just that you would sort of write about what you see, you would also want to write about what could be an alternative. And this is because there is anger there. There is something in you that is driven. Now, whether this is because you had you didn't come from privilege, or something unjust happened to you at, in your family or at school or something like that, there's something, it drives you. You provoke. In fact, you can't be silent. So that may be sort of one of the things that one needs to think about with all of this. I do think you are going to be successful. You're very, very good at this, but you can't be silent. So it's very important that you go back to the Mart thing about making sure it's always just, and that you create the good life for yourself, but one that you can actually feel is comfortable as well, that it's not recreating. So one of the things that people who provoke and go into sort of the political world or the social world or whatever, there's always a risk that you become the thing you despise. Now, I think Mart will stop you doing that. But it's like, that's why the balance is so important, because something has really driven you. And as I say, if this is in a relationship or something like that, then I think you're going to provoke a breakthrough, which will either be an escape from that relationship to bring in what you really want, or it will be to establish what you want and bring things into balance. But it's how you talk, it's how you express yourself, that's the key part of your glow up and your victory. So let's use the Art of Adventure Tarot, and let's ask a little bit more detail about this current victory. We're going to then ask about what do you vanquish or break through to get there, and then what do you create and manifest out of it. So a little bit more detail about what is this thing you're provoking, that you're stirring up and trying to bring into better balance. 8 of Wands, 10 of Cups, Death reversed, the Devil reversed, the 9 of Coins. Okay. Some of this is about freedom. 9 of Coins is drawing me very much to Taurus. You want to create a world where you are not, you and probably those that you care about, in fact, yes, definitely those that you care about, are not subject to the unfair sort of powers that be, in whatever this sort of means. So it could be, as I say, it could be in your family, and it could have been some sort of like kind of favoritism or whatever, you're now trying to sort of find something for yourself and for others that actually gets past that. So it doesn't have to be on the world stage, but I think some of you, there is something very social, political, philosophical, or potentially performative, like writers, actors or something like that about this, is because it's very strong around communication. So you are going to achieve something. Whatever this is, whatever your message is, you are going to start to achieve the life that you want. So again, if you were a journalist, you're going to achieve success. You're going to achieve the distribution of what you do. People are going to pay attention to what you say. You are going to start to be at a point where you feel sufficiently independent from the kind of the matrix in a way to be able to be true to what you want to do. And there's a great freedom associated with that. Great freedom. So whatever this anger is, you are going to rise above that to have what you want, which is really, really positive. It is saying that this happens very quickly. You think quickly, speak quickly, all that sort of stuff, and in a very engaging way, as I say. And there's sort of something about the freedom to love and have what you want in your life. But there's a choice yet to make. This is the only thing that's potentially delaying any of this, is there is a choice you need to make. And I think it's connecting to this Ma and Typhon. It's like making sure that the choice that you do frees you, but also gives you a longer term happy outcome. Because otherwise it's a bit illusory, part one. Otherwise, if you just go for the freedom, but you haven't defined what happiness is, you could actually, as I say, start to almost create in your own world the same thing. Thinking that you're free or thinking that you free other people. So I think there's a very philosophical choice here. You're going to be successful. Your message is going to be powerful. You are going to be a force to be reckoned with in whatever level this is. But there is a choice that you haven't yet fully made. So this makes sense then to ask, what do you still need to vanquish to get this breakthrough? The Emperor reversed, the High Priestess reversed, the Six of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely something about power. Now, like for some of you, this is about family stuff with the Emperor reversed, probably from the father's side of the lineage, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be that. But it is the more disciplinary, the more this is the way we do things around here type of energy, whichever of your parents had that. There is something about that, breaking free from that. And from feeling that you are beholden to others for money, for security, for the Taurus sort of energy of having the life that you want. And the good thing is that there's already a promise that you're going to do that you're going to become more independent, that this message will make you more independent of that. But there is still something about who controls it. So again, say you're a journalist, I'm just using this as an example. It could be that there's still a breakthrough about how you get the message out, given that there are gatekeepers to the message. And some of this is about, it's a balance, it's a very pragmatic balance, and this has to do with the choice that you're kind of delaying about how do you stay true to your principles, but also have that breakthrough so that you can move, so that you can take something forward that you're passionate about. And there's something about the environment you're in, there's kind of like, it's at this very matrixy level of where I think that you've succeeded a lot within whatever this framework is. And it's almost now you want to break out of the framework because you've seen the kind of, what's behind the curtain, so to speak. But there's sort of like, there's a pressure on you about like, what could you lose by doing this? So you have to kind of like really own your passion and move forward. So there's almost it's the opposite of a Faustian pact, let's put it that way. It's almost as though you or others in this have almost been part of a Faustian pact without even necessarily thinking that you do. And in a sense, we're all caught in the matrix, so that makes sense. But this is the opposite of that. What is the cost of that? So I think that's something that you need to work out. But I think that the clue in this is around what you care about emotionally and what you're passionate about, and bringing that into balance. So it's more from what is the justice thing for the longer term life that you want, as opposed to what are you angry about in this. If you stay angry in it, you might stay stuck in it. I think that's all it's saying. So what can you create and manifest if you break out? If you really do sort of say, I'm going to go for this Nine of Pentacles. I'm going to be a self-made person. I'm going to speak my truth. Ace of Wands. The Six of Cups reversed. And the Ten of Wands. Okay, all right. So You're going to have a new lease of life. In fact, you're going to let go of a burden. You've felt the burden. This is where the anger is. You felt constrained in some way by the environment that you're in, by the rules of the environment that you're in, and you know that they're not balanced. Even though I think for you, to some degree, they've worked in your favour, you want it to be your work and your vision and your thing. And so by making that decision and breaking free and speaking your truth, because you're very good at it, you get a whole new lease of life that removes the burdens. And it brings a kind of clarity about what was the emotional programming that was behind this. It relieves the burden of the emotional programming. So there's something here, like, as I say, it's like I think you've been very successful at university and school, or, in a workplace, or your family, like you fitted in with all of that. But you've now realised, as I say, what's behind the curtain. You know that you have to have your passion do something different. So, but you have to let go of the emotional nostalgia that's not useful to you anymore, so that you can go towards what is in your terms. So you manifest a relief of the burden of expectations of a system or an emotional thing or an emotional relationship, whatever it is, that was not right, so that you can bring in what is new. If this is about a relationship, I think you're probably going to leave the relationship. That's what it looks like. It probably looks extremely good on paper, but underneath it, it's not what it appears to be, if that makes sense. But I think for most of you, this is about speaking your truth, being seen, and some sort of like career, vocation, or whatever, that is about liberation. And you liberate yourself, and then you can sort of help others to liberate. So let's have a look at what kind of inner magic you have around this, and what is the change energy that is necessary. So we're going to pull a couple of cards for each. So this is how you have the momentum to really reach this victory. So firstly, in terms of the magical energy around you, we have doable. The key is within your grasp. Yeah, you can do this. You have all the skills that you need. And the key, unlocking the door, getting the freedom, you can do it. Like, that's not the question. The question is not whether you can do it. And I think you know that. I think you know the question is not what it is. I think that you have a very finely tuned sense of balance and so forth. And you know that in doing this, you have to be very clear and very balanced, because otherwise you will just become the thing that you want to escape. So, but it's not a question of whether you can do it. Let's see the transformation that comes from just doing it alchemically for you. Wise salt. Yeah, okay. So you absorb what is worth absorbing, and you leave the rest. So that's part of the thing. It really does feel like, and this is just an analogy because or an example, there's going to be many things, but it feels like someone who's been born into some sort of privilege or some sort of position of power or influence, or you've done very well in as I say, a workplace or whatever, that you've been able to do this because you're so clever in how you can speak. But there's something that you don't agree with anymore, something that you're angry, something that you want to break through, or it's just that you're angry to be constrained in any way and you want to speak your truth. What this is saying is that what could be happening, and this is what you need to be careful of, this is if you have Typhon more important than Mart, is that you might be almost demonizing the thing that you're escaping from. So there may be elements of what you went through that actually make it possible to do this that is worth moving forward with, and just remembering that you can balance it, that your intellect allows you to balance it. So you move forward. It's not throwing everything out. It's moving forward with the wisdom that you got from that, so that you can do this. You can do this. Then a second element about your success, the magic of your success. Umbuto, compassion for others. Okay, and this is the cups energy. And this is the thing, you're trying to make sure that you don't become the next despot almost. But you have that compassion. The thing is, it's in your heart, and it's interesting because, as I say, throat chakra and above is more in your head and more in how you think and how you communicate. And Mart is very thought-oriented. Typhon is probably more in the pit of you. So there is a thing in the middle. It's like, where is the heart in all of this? So really focusing on your compassion for others and why you thought something was unjust is a really powerful thing to make sure that you don't become the next version of the thing that you're trying to battle. And the alchemical energy for you is lead. Okay. This is your grounding. Lead can sometimes be, alchemically sort of something that's very heavy and hard to move through, but it's saying it's your grounding here. And it's saying it's your discipline with Saturn. And it's saying take a little bit of time with this. You can build the new over time. It all doesn't have to be done in a rush. So I think this is saying that don't demonize what you're leaving, take what was worthwhile. Focus in on your compassion to others in what your message is and make that your foundation. That will allow you to not end up, as I say, you have a fear of replicating this. You won't replicate it if you ground everything back with compassion to others. Okay. So what signs might you see when you're really ready to do this breakthrough, when you're ready to sort of step up and say, speak your truth, to take the doable energy and move forward with it? Coins. Now this could be very literal, that there's money in it for you, because look, with Taurus, with the 9 of coins, all of that, I think you're going to make something out of your career with this. So that could be a very literal thing, that as you can sort of see the monetary outcome, you're going to know that you're getting there and that you've got the foundation that you need. You may also sort of see coins. You might walk past a coin on the street. You could see pictures of coins. You could sort of have things come up on your YouTube feed about money, about Bitcoin, about any of those sort of things. Any of those things could be signs that, and what you're thinking about at that time is worth really considering. And 3 monkeys. See, that's really interesting given the energy of this. I think that as I say, I think there's something about the relationships, the environment, the workplace, whatever it is that you're in at the moment, that you can see there's a truth behind it that nobody's admitting. So I think you're probably already here. You're kind of seeing this energy around you, and the more that you see it, the more you know that it's time to actually speak your own truth, go forward, do your own thing. And it's going to be an opportunity. There's a breakthrough coming, as I say. You're going to be victorious in this, but it's because you've sort of seen a calcified relationship, environment, academia, whatever it is, where they no longer really look at the thing. This is groupthink. You're seeing groupthink. When you see groupthink, that's because you've seen it, and other people can't even see that's the case. So this is how you can move forward. Okay, let's get you a little bit of astrology or numerology to guide you. Mercury. Oh yeah, this is you all over. You are so articulate. Trust that. You are so articulate. You're very quick. But that's why you need the grounding of the emotion, because otherwise you can run away with yourself. But you're so articulate that this is the thing that's going to be your victory. Be extremely good in a sort of like a debate or something like that. And you think on your feet very, very well. And conjunction. There could be a connection that really helps you with this. There could be another person. It could be a relationship, or it could be you connecting with your heart and so forth, connecting your sort of intellect with your heart in some way is how you work it. I'm just going to deal out and get the planets to see the energy of the conjunction for you, because this does suggest that although there's a lot of independence about this, you could find your people. That's going to be part of what this is about. So there's a lot of cards in this deck, so just bear with me while I wait till I get the first 2 planets. Pluto, yeah, that's the Typhon. There's somebody who will share your view that something is deeply wrong and has to be changed and has to be transformed. And the Moon. There's a psychic connection with this person, very emotional. Actually, it's good in a way because I think you're very intellectual. There's a connection here with someone who has a similar cause, but it comes from a very emotional place. And this may be even picking up this compassion for others, and there may be, as I say, a very strong partnership, whether it's a love relationship or whether it is sort of just a collaboration in some way that's going to help you. Okay, so to close out, I'm just going to get an archetype card for what you would start to manifest and show after this victory, after this breakthrough. Pile 1. The Loner. Okay, that's interesting. This is you being on your own. I do think there's going to be someone. I think this has already said you're not going to be on your own, actually. I think there'll be significant people that you're connected with, but you are known very much for being different. This is about you speaking your truth. This is about breaking out from the pack. This is about, you are, and look, for some of you, it may literally be about writing. It may literally be writing sort of something new, breaking through sort of the kind of genre traditions, doing something very new, very different. But this is about you being independent. You will have people with you, so it's not saying that you're going to be alone, But this is you do not walk the same path as other people, and this is your strength. This is how you have breakthroughs. But people do not see you as one of a crowd. They see you as being very much your own person. And maybe, and this is where it's important to connect back to the compassion to others, a little bit chilly, a little bit detached. There will be at least one very important relationship that doesn't see that, but it's maybe something to think about as well. That you don't want to be so alone that you feel people can't hear you. I mean, I think they will because you're very, very articulate, but that may be a balance that over time you need to think about. But you're certainly your own person, pile 1. I hope that this resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the Six of Wands from the Green and Anvil deck. And as I said in the introduction, there was an intention in choosing these decks that is going to permeate this, and it does make a lot of sense with the other cards here. I am aligning these readings to the primary colour in the palette of the deck. So this is green, and the others have other primary sort of palette colours to connect to the chakras. So green to me is about the heart. So the intention in this is there's something that is very important to your heart, whether it's a love relationship or whether it's something creative, and it could be a bit of both or either with this, given the cards here. But this is a breakthrough around something that is very dear to your heart. So as I say, a relationship, something creative you're trying to do, some cause that you're trying to do. And it's interesting with the other cards connected to this. There is a sense here to me that this is a breakthrough after a lot of obstacles. You've had a lot of obstacles. And you've had to, one of the things that will bring you your victory is kind of reducing things down and working out where to put your fire and your passion and your energy. So if this is around relationship, it may in fact be there is a blessing coming through, which is lovely, and that connects with the victory, that you need to either assess a relationship to see whether it's right. If there's too many obstacles, then maybe the point is that the passion is not creating something for you, because there's passion and energy with Sekhmet and the 5th house here. But Sekhmet is about reduction. Sekhmet is where we can get overheated, where we can... she's a lion energy, so she's very powerful, very courageous, kind of a warrior energy, but a great deal of heat is being engendered by this. So it's interesting with that. And then we have Ganesha, Ganesha ultimately is usually about success and so forth, but the way that it's portrayed in this is breaking through the obstacles to get to success. So I think there is something almost saying here that the heat and the passion of something it's both potentially an obstacle you need to balance to have the success, but it also maybe is the engine room of the success. The important thing, therefore, with Sekhmet, with reduction here, is to focus it where it is best suited. And this is to all things with the 5th house, which is creativity, love, romance, and so forth. This is where a blessing is coming through. This is where obstacles are going to be removed. So if this is around a breakthrough with a relationship, it would suggest that is going to happen. But it almost happens because of channeling the passion in a way that moves towards what is a blessing in the relationship and less what might be different. Because there is something operating here that is an obstacle that needs to be broken through. So it's almost like a creative approach. If it's a relationship you're trying to sort through, just doing the same thing over and over is not going to do it. It's kind of like focusing the passion. If this is not about a love relationship, it's something creative that's close to your heart. There's a same thing here where you've been burning against obstacles, but there is a way to creatively have a breakthrough and bring the blessing through. Or it could just simply be saying that the battle is almost over. The obstacles are going to be removed by grace, by a blessing. So just continue with your creative approach. Either way, something very close to your heart you're about to have a breakthrough on. So let's see what we get from Tarot. Let's ask firstly a bit more about the victory you're about to have. And we're going to ask what other blockages or anything else that you need to remove for that, and then what you can create or manifest as a result. So firstly, just get a little bit more of an idea about what is this victory about, which is about passion, about the heart, about love, and about refocusing the passion to bring through the blessings and to break through the obstacles. So let's see what Tarot can say, what Spirit can tell us about the nature of this victory. Wheel of Fortune reversed, 6 of Pentacles reversed, 2 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles reversed, The High Priestess reverse. Now, the first thing I would say about this is this looks more like it's something creative than a love relationship. But, you know, it could be a love relationship. If it is a love relationship, there's a lot here about finding an equal or finding where you are equal. So if there's some sort of a battle that's been going on in the relationship, almost like a battle for dominance, that there's a breakthrough in finding that. But given the nature of the cards that have come out here, with Six of Pentacles reversed and Eight of Pentacles reversed in particular, I'm feeling like there's something very material about this. So it makes me think it tilts towards the creative success in some way. And it's got to do with, again, finding equals. There's a sort of a sense where there are obstacles in looking for a patron or a support. It's more you've got to find your group, your people that will connect with and see what you're bringing as a blessing. You feel like you've been pushing up against it where people were the gatekeepers in some way. And it's partly because what you're bringing is very, very different. You're very skilled. Like if this is creative, you're very, very skilled. That's not the issue. The issue is whether you're a bit ahead of your time, really, and what your decision is about that. There's a decision around this about do you try and find the breakthrough? Do you take a very pragmatic view of the industry and so forth, and therefore how to better align your creative passion and skills to be within the industry? Or do you make the choice to say, I'm going to do it kind of more on my own. I don't think that this is the right place. I'm not going to find my fortune this way. So it's going to depend. Now, if this is about a love relationship, and it could be because, as I say, there's a great deal of intentionality about this deck being about things close to the heart. You have potentially been looking for relationships that have not worked out because the person wasn't at your level. You're very passionate. And I think maybe that might be almost overwhelming for some people. So it's like finding someone with a similar level of passion and a creative way to find that and so forth. So people who will find that as a blessing. So that could have been an issue because there's a sense of you keep looking and you're finding it hard to find a balance, somebody who feels as strongly as you do. Over here, there's a kind of an aha moment that you could have that says that you need to find the more unusual people. There's something unusual about you and in how you operate on that level, and being pragmatic about that helps you feel the choice. So it could be about relationship, but there's something very strategic about that if that's the case. And that's what interests me here, because Sekhmet is about protection and ferocity and courage and all those things, but in this deck and connecting it to the astrology deck with a sense of creativity, there's a passion, but how do you focus that passion so it's not overwhelming you or anybody else? And then, as I say, Ganesha tends to be about good luck and fortune, and we have the blessings, but there's sort of obstacles. So I think it's saying the obstacle is finding the right layer of passion. And so whether that is how you do something creatively, given the industry and other people's responses, or whether it's relationship, there is something here about you deciding whether you have to kind of find, just keep looking for your level, or whether you strategically adjust what you're doing to fit what is more expected. Either way, you're going to be victorious. So let's see what obstacles are left to break through, which you are going to have the victory. That's the promise of this reading. It's just understanding the dynamics. So what are the obstacles that you will break through? Page of Wands, Queen of Cups, Six of Cups, the Magician. Oh, you're powerful. You're powerful with these sort of cards. This is the thing, you're very powerful. Passionate, creative, very powerful. You have a mastery of all of this. This is why you can break the rules. But that's the point, it's breaking the rules. There's something here about an early version of what you wanted to do, or an early version of love, or an early version about what, it could even be that you're trying to find the partner in life to reflect something that you saw in childhood or whatever, where your own brilliance, your own power is something that becomes a little bit of an obstacle. There's something about your intensity, Pile 2. And this isn't ultimately going to be a problem. It's just at the moment it is to find someone with a similar level. There's something about finding someone on a similar level that's important, and feeling like you can really be truly yourself and follow your passion. So I feel like you're always muting yourself. I think that's what this is saying. There's a great deal of passion, whether it's creative or whether it's in love. You're always feeling you have to mute yourself because you don't find someone who operates at the same level of intensity as you. So that's the thing, and that's the breakthrough, to understand and work out what's the nostalgic thing around that. What are the parameters you put around that? Because that might be the thing that's leading you astray. It may be that in fact, if you, for instance, if you have very happy parents, what made them happy might be different to what you think, or it might be different to what would make you happy in a relationship. If it's around, your kind of nostalgic sort of view about in industry, creatively, what worked before is limiting what you could actually do, and limiting your authenticity, and limiting your capacity to really express yourself. It's keeping you at the page when you probably should be like at the Queen or King around the wands or whatever, because you're muting yourself. That's what this is saying. So the answer is not, well, this is saying you could do either, actually. It is saying that you could decide to mute yourself and have success. So you mute this a bit, and you make sure what you do is authentic, but you fit in with something that's established and you use your skills that way. That's this thing over here. Or you could go, no, I'm not going to mute myself at all, even if I have to let go of something in the past. So I think it depends on what this is for you, but it could go either way. Let's see what you can manifest. What is the promise of victory for you here? The Fool, the Four of Wands reversed, the Three of Swords. I think this is saying why you could do either. There is one that's very clear, to be honest. I think this is saying that the moment you're stuck in this, do I fit in somehow and mute some of my passion, or do I go, no, I'm going to find the one who is right for me, or the creative outlet that is right for me, and buck against that trend. This is saying where you get your true victory is in being the pioneer, is in going after what is your passion, even if it upsets the apple cart, even if you separate from certain people. And if this is around a relationship that you're in and you're trying to work this out, then it really depends on whether or not you can be truly as passionate as you want. If you can't, if you're always muting that, then this is saying separation is actually the right thing for you to do, to follow your heart and to have victory. So even though it may feel painful to do it and may be a little bit disruptive, it's still the right thing to do. If this is around creativity, then really working out that creative and new way to find the right people, the right audience, all that kind of thing is important, even if it does separate out from some of the sort of creative networks that you have. So either way, I do think it's saying you can do either and you can have victory, but this is the biggest victory. The biggest victory is to be true to yourself. Everything else is always muting yourself to some degree. And with the blessings that we saw, there's some good fortune for you. Felt like fortune has worked against you, but there's an energy coming in now for fortune to work for you. So it's very important, therefore, for you to really understand your magic and the transformation energy associated with it. So we're going to look at two elements of that. We're going to look at two elements of magic and the sort of alchemical transformation that really helps you have victory. So the first one is Maximus. How can you feed others when your own table is empty? So yeah, there's this. Maybe this is the thing too. If you are always trying to fit in with what other people need, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in creative stuff, and you're putting all that energy into that, you're probably potentially burning yourself out. There's maybe an issue of burnout here as well too. So pulling back and reassessing what the value is to you would be important. You need to understand that a lot of people, you are very passionate, you are very creative, you are very inspiring, I think, but you may be giving too much to others. This might be also saying that by separating out a bit and going your own journey is important. So let's see the alchemical transformation energy that will help you understand getting that in balance, so that you're not burning yourself out for other people. Winter. Yeah, this is saying withdraw a bit. Before you make your decision, withdraw a bit. And don't be in too much of a hurry. Like, it's very interesting. So a sense of burnout. Literally, if a candle burns out, then you're in the kind of like the cold, you're in the dark. I think this is actually saying that's actually necessary. This is why we had reduction with Sekhmet. It's like pull back a bit to make this decision. As I say, you can kind of win either way, but it is tilting to where you win the most. But you're overheated at the moment. You're absolutely overheated. Let's have a look at the second level of magic for you. Epiphany, reveal your gifts. Yeah, you have very specific gifts. This is why it is tilting towards you, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's creatively, like doing what is true to you, not kind of hiding that away. So I think that you've been kind of burning the candle at both ends, trying to do what you care about, but also trying to fit in, or trying to be in the relationship you want to be in, but also like muting yourself so that the peace is there. But either way, your gifts are key to you and key to your ultimate victory. So the transformation energy around your epiphany and your sense of, okay, this is who I truly am. Oh, wow, is the great work. There's something very special, either a very special relationship that's supposed to come in for you, or you're supposed to have a breakthrough in one that you're in and it is very special, but this needs to be done because it's out of whack in terms of like the energy that you're putting into it and how much you feel like you can be yourself, or it's whatever you're doing creatively. It's the great work, the alchemical marriage, and there is meant to be enjoyment here. Like, it's like that you've overheated yourself. You're no longer even enjoying the creativity, and it's meant to be that, or the passion. You're no longer enjoying that. You're just feeling the obstacles. It's sort of like that getting back to who you really are helps you to get back on course with that for you. So let's see what signs and synchronicities you may see when you're really starting to get this breakthrough. Travel. Okay, so this might be take some time out. You might have a sense you want to broaden your horizons instead of concentrating your energy all in one place, that you can do it more broadly. Or it could be, with a partner, if you're really trying to work this through and get back to the core of who both of you are, it might be go on a holiday together. Or you could just be seeing synchronicity. So it could be that you're seeing travel ads, you're sort of like seeing things about overseas places, you're having dreams about traveling. So it could be just that, and it's a sort of a sign that you're ready to move forward. That in a sense your engines are ready to take flight again after a period of maybe resting. And butterflies. Oh, how beautiful. I love when this comes up. So that's the transformation to be what is truly beautiful and you. And I often think when butterflies to me, what it always says to me is that there is something unique. There is something unique and beautiful that may not be understood until it's realized, because I always think about how different the caterpillar is and the butterfly. And I often contemplate about if the caterpillar was looking at the butterfly, would they even think that was beautiful? Could they even comprehend it? And my sense is probably not. So I think that there is something in here that you can only truly become the butterfly. You can only truly reveal your gifts and so forth if you do it and you go through the transformation. And then eventually, like you are with those who are other butterflies rather than the caterpillars, if that makes sense. Let's get you some astrology or numerology to also help you on your path to victory, pile 2. 6th house. Okay, this has got something to do with your career. I do think for most of you this is more creative than love, though. If it is about a love relationship, there's something about your service to others that is connected to this and how that operates. So that's something to think about. Is that in balance? Or are you kind of doing all the sort of supporting and serving in a relationship? So you need to, again, find that equal sort of thing. But I think for many of you, this has got to do with your career. This has got to do with how you would make money. And this is why it's important to sort of understand the kind of transition towards what will really bring you in what you want, and that you're about to have a breakthrough. So if you have been trying to get a book published, or, a screenplay taken up, or I'm just trying to think of various creative things, or an art exhibition opened, you're about to do that. That's about to happen. And Cancer. See, but it has to be close to the heart. It has to protect the heart. Again, if you're overextending it, you're not protecting yourself or anybody else. So there's something here about if you need a grounding energy that is beyond you, revealing your gifts and your message, and a way to almost a navigation point to almost find the right people, the right love, the right creative outlet, whatever it is like, where would you feel that you could protect your vision and you could serve others? That's where it gets back to the heart center. And remember, I said this is about the heart. There's something about the heart for you. So there's a sense of that could be your way to test out what you want to do, who you want to be with, how you want to do things. Okay, so lastly, I just want to draw you an archetype that you could manifest as part of this victory. The Explorer. Yeah, that's the Fool energy. Spirit definitely wants you to think about really what is unique to you, your gifts and so forth. It's saying that you will find that there is a blessing that breaks through the obstacles. They are going to shift because you're going to almost level up. You're going to be amongst your other butterflies. And there's something explorative in it. And even if it is about a relationship, it's like trying to look at this more as an exploration rather than as a kind of an internal battle and a passionate battle about, what is going to be. Removes the obstacles or takes you away from one relationship to explore and bring you into one that is going to be right for you. But either way, that's the thing to do. Your heart should see this as an exploration, not as kind of continually bashing up against something. It's exploring things, it's searching out, it's recalibrating, it's using your gifts in whatever way this is. And I'm also getting like flight, like flying to another country, flying as a butterfly. It's like this sort of sense of expanding your wings. That's how you open your heart. That's how you use your passion in the most positive way. And that in itself is going to break through the obstacles for you. So pile 2, I'm really quite excited for you. I think there's some really lovely energy coming in, but it's like, don't overextend yourself. Just give yourself the time out when you need to. Always calibrate back to what kind of thing do you want to do for the world and for those that you care about and for that nourishes your heart. So I hope that resonates. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Ornamented Tarot. And as I noted in the introduction, there was an intentionality about the choice of the decks that I chose. And it has to do with the sort of primary colour palette or the main colour palette that I see in the deck. So in the Ornamented Tarot, it has many colours, but there is a very strong preponderance of red, orange and yellow. And to me, that connects to the root chakra, the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra. So it seemed to me that this victory has to do with something very core to you, something that is creative and something that is about your personal power in the world. So I think this is how you create yourself, the life that you want, the foundations of your life that you want. There is something very key in that, and it's very, very grounded to the earth. And that's sort of interesting that the combination of all those colours brings us a sort of brown colour for the Six of Wands here. So that's sort of the sense again of grounding energy. These cards are meant to sort of give a bit of an idea of the area. The interesting thing for you is it is very grounded in the sense of this is with Bodhisattva. She represents victory. So it's a double, yes, victory is coming, a real breakthrough is coming. And it's about being able to battle for things, but also about unifying with the right people to bring about that kind of victory. So there is a sense here of your core power and your core creative vision, connecting with others, finding the right people. And we have the ninth house faith, the belief structure in some way, the expansion of the world, the expansion of the mind, finding your people, finding those that believe similarly to you. And then we have Helios, which is about the cycles of time. And it's very interesting we have the cycles because the sacral chakra around fertility, things happen particularly for women, but in general terms, in terms of the cycles around creative energy and so forth, connects to this sort of thing. It brings a kind of almost feminine aspect also to the aspect of the sort of divine masculine here. And we have Saturn with truth, things that take time, things that grow over time, things that are very grounded. So this is saying to me, it's interesting, I feel as though there is a very high order spiritual aspect to you that's coming through with the ninth house here, and it's very much about a set of beliefs. Your victory is going to be in unifying beliefs in some way for a long cycle that recognizes that things ebb and flow. So this feels like a victory of a philosophy or a victory of a belief structure, or it could be a political belief structure, it could be a social justice structure, it could be anything like that, or it could just be that you have been in a situation where there has been something in battle and you are the unifying force that can bring together belief structure enough for that you have gravitas. Let me get to this. You have really strong gravitas, but you also understand the ebb and flow of things. It's one of the reasons why you'll be victorious and why you can take this on various levels. Now, talking about gravitas with Saturn and also with the ninth house, there's charisma and then there's gravitas. And particularly when you look at things like organizational power, political power or whatever, one might have one or both. charisma is very, it's very compelling, and it's very, people will follow and listen and be sort of captivated by someone, but it often creates very strange relationships. It often creates a lot of mirroring energy that can be complicated, and sometimes it doesn't have the foundation underneath it to sustain itself. Gravitas, on the other hand, is where you naturally come across as knowing what you're talking about, having the wisdom, having the sort of sober understanding of the world. People believe what you say. People believe what you say. And they will commit on a longer term. They will have faith in this, and they believe because they believe that you're speaking the truth. So you are someone who, when you speak your truth, people believe you. And they see it as unifying force. You don't speak truth to separate, you do it to unify. You have a very strong spiritual core for this. There is a truth to what you say. This doesn't mean you're going to be right about everything, because none of us are, but there is a core truth and people respond to that. And you understand the timing for when to bring this forward. So this victory has something to do with unifying different sorts of people to a creative vision and to one where you have a lot of power, personal power, to be that unifier. So let's see a little bit more about this with tarot. We're going to ask a little bit more detail about the victory that's coming up for you. We're then going to ask about what blocks may still exist that you need to break through and what you can ultimately manifest in this victory. So firstly, let's just get a little bit more of an idea about what is this unifying truth that you are about to bring forward. It's very core to you, though. It's very core to you because of the sort of chakras that are being activated. So, Four of Wands reversed, Five of Swords reversed, Five of Wands. You're definitely dealing with some form of conflict. This is the Bodhisattva energy. Six of Cups reversed, Two of Swords. Okay. So it's very interesting. You've come to the one where, as I say, this is really about personal power and personal creativity. Your personal power and your personal creativity plays out with other people, plays out in conflict situations. That you have been in a conflict situation, whether it's around sort of like close family or friends, or whether it's in a workplace or socially, politically, whatever. It's a victory around where there are lots of little camps all sort of sitting, eyeing each other off in a way. There's a internal conflict, and you are tenacious as hell. You do not give up. You know that these battles are less than they appear to be. This is why you can do the unifying force. It's that sort of concept that you don't have to agree on everything. You just have to find the thing that you do agree on, and then you can build from that. You understand this. So you're a natural for peacekeeping, negotiation, all of those kind of things. There's something around a victory you're going to have where everybody was standing off in their different corners and arguing. And part of the victory is that you're going to be able to show people. It's almost like there's the Marcus Aurelius, very famous Marcus Aurelius, saying, "This too shall pass." The Six of Cups reversed, which is sort of like the past things and it's reversed. It's an understanding that the past doesn't have to dictate the future, and the cycles, things go in cycles. Choices can be made without always being stuck in the past. So this is an evolutionary sort of energy as well too. It's played out, I think, quite often in small sort of battles, but there's a longer term thing you're looking at. This is a Saturn, a longer term truth you're trying to get at. It's shifting away from old patterns that no longer serve the people involved, beliefs that no longer serve the people, to make choices that are more sort of grounded in facts as opposed to emotion, as opposed to like just almost like, it almost feels like, you look at it, it almost feels like, everybody's got their kind of sport team or whatever, and it's that's the kind of thing I feel when I look at that. It's sort of like, that's not serving people to just have their loyalties without thought. This is getting people to detach from outmoded ways of thinking that have got them sort of separated, so they can start to see the places where they could come together. So there's something here in what you're going to do that breaks through old patterns that kept us divided and moves us towards something where we're more unified in whatever way this works out. Like if you were at, like a Thanksgiving dinner or something like that with the family, you'd be the one who, when everybody starts to get a little bit testy, you'd be able to kind of cut through that and kind of bring everything back to a more balanced level. Because as I say, you have gravitas, people listen to you. I can almost sort of see all these sort of little battles going on for a while, and then you just happen to say something in a quiet and clear voice, and everybody listens and goes, oh, okay, and stops arguing. It's that kind of energy. That's who you are. So let's see what remaining sort of blockages or issues you might have to break through to this victory in whatever this situation is. Pile 3. Four of Pentacles reversed. Knight of Swords reversed. King of Swords. Ace of Cups. Okay. All right. A lot of this does feel like sort of stuff around family or around maybe work groups or whatever, but there's someone who you care about a great deal. It could be a love relationship. It could be a member of your family. It could just be someone you work with that you actually look up to, like you actually respect a great deal. But they're still a bit stuck. So the hardest thing for you is to get this person to shift, or this energy to shift. Because you do look up to them and you do care about it and you think they come from the right place. On the other hand, what you need to realise about that is if they are coming from the right place, they're going to be open to this. They will be open to the gravitas that you bring. And in fact, this person in particular coming up as the King of Swords would be open to that, would be open to a really good argument. And the irony is this may be still a blockage, but if you get this person on side, then nothing stops you in this situation. But they're quite conservative. They don't rush into the new. They worry that it's going to undo things, the foundation. They feel like just the slightest thing's going to make everything collapse. So you have to kind of get their heart involved in this. So if this was, in a workplace, you have to get some other influencer, in a way, to be on side with you. And they're a bit of a hard sort of thing to get through. And maybe the answer is in the cycles and being able to make them see that this is just a cycle. This is an ebb and a flow, and that's the nature of things. It's not that everything's going to fall apart. It's just the nature of things. So if it's that, if it's a love relationship, then there is someone that is going to be a really good thing, but they have a very different view about how the love should play out. And so you're going to have to win them over with arguments, but you can win them over with arguments. Okay, let's have a look at what you can manifest with this victory. Nine of Swords reversed, Nine of Pentacles, the Tower reversed. Okay. Yeah, you're very much the change agent. This is coming through in all of these. You can take the anxiety out of everything. There's a lot of anxiety and a lot of petty arguments or whatever around this, or kind of differences of opinion. But in having this victory, in getting the breakthrough and having people see what is in common rather than what is different, you can relieve a lot of anxiety. You can have a great deal of independence in what you want to do and creating your thing. And you can allow things to change gradually and in a less chaotic way. There's something chaotic about the energy. If this is a relationship, then you probably argue over stupid things a lot, and you can actually break through all that sort of energy, and each of you can be sovereign to what you do, and work together to make the relationship work. If this is in a workplace, it's like, God, there's a lot of kind of rubbish and cliques and all that sort of stuff, but you can move through that, and you can show that the change, it is cycles. It's like it's not everything is thrown out. It's how things are changed to be more unified and so forth. So you can achieve a lot of autonomy and a lot of sort of potentially material growth out of this, but you're taking the anxiety out of change, and you're giving people a sense that they have some autonomy and they can affect the change rather than just be affected by the change. So that you have a victory in this. And as I say, it's because when you speak, people listen to you, that you have gravitas. And there's a very strong spiritual thing behind this. You really are coming from a very good place, and I think people pick that up. So let's have a look at your personal magic. We're going to do this twice. We're going to look at your personal elements of your personal magic that help you have this victory, and the transitional or transformational energy that helps enact that magic. So firstly, protection, set personal boundaries. Okay. Well, in this environment, yes, of course, you're going to need, I think that you're all over that though. I think you have some really good boundaries around this. Part of your capacity to stay detached and your personal power and groundedness will help. But it is important to know that you are someone who is often going to be the peacemaker in conflict. So it's very important to do that. So what kind of transformational alchemical energy would help you with that? Fog, okay. This is saying when you need to particularly do it. So I think this is saying that, because I think it's part of your your long-term spiritual path to be this unifier, there are going to be times where things are not clear. When things are not clear, that's when you need the boundaries. When things are clear, then you know your way, you know how to navigate this really well. But when things are not clear, set the boundaries first before you engage, because there could be almost sort of surprise attacks that you don't expect operating if things are not clear. So I think this is just saying that this depends on the environment and the situation that you're in. Then a second level of magic for you. Flash over. It's all in your head. Okay, all right. I think this is actually energy that's coming to you, because it doesn't feel to me like you are the sort of person who is all kind of like in your head. But having said that, there is something about breaking away from old patterns. So I think it is important for you to know whether you are looking at something and thinking it's exactly the same as something before. So this may be part of the protection too. Like if you see something that looks very similar to a situation before, it's important for you to step back and not just apply that, because this could be different. But I also think that you're going to find a lot of this argumentation and energy is kind of very head-based. It's very electric. It's very ephemeral. So it's like understanding that and being able to get people to step away from that. So let's see the transformational energy around this. Yellowing. Okay, this may be something that happens at the point where, actually there's a couple of things I'm getting on this, where you've gone through some of it and it's at the point where it appears to be healed. There may still be some things to kind of consider. So this sort of feels like this is right at the beginning when you're not sure and you need the protective boundaries. This feels like at the end of a process where, because yellowing is about, where healing is well advanced, but it's not as completely healed, like a bruise is not completely healed. So there's still something there. And this is where it's important maybe to consider what are the belief structures that you have and other people have around everything. And it's very interesting too, because the yellow color in this fits with the sort of yellow palette. As I said, the sort of the red, the orange and the yellow. That's the solar plexus. So that's personal power. So I think this is showing you a cycle to manage doing what you do, to start when things are not clear with having boundaries around yourself. At the end, to assess what really happened and what may next need to do to consolidate this, and to really put yourself through the same rigor as everybody else, and to see if anybody's still kind of sitting in their head and it's diminishing the power. So this is your kind of, those first three chakras are very powerful for you. There's a personal power, a personal knowing that doesn't even need to be in the head. So that's the thing, like what have you come as a belief structure out of this? What has come out of the belief structure for others? This is just part of how you do your magic. So let's look at some signs for when you are achieving the victory. When you're almost at this point, really, whether your victory is there and you're kind of assessing the next steps, what are the things that tell you that you're there? Seedlings. Okay, the sense of something new growth coming through. So there's always change associated with this. So say you're a change agent and so forth. Also, seedlings connect with the cycles. So it may be that there are particular points in time where you feel this is the growth cycle. This is when you've gone through the conflict cycle. Now you can start to grow with the unifying. You may literally, see adverts about gardens. You may think about starting a garden. You may find that, spring is literally happening outside your door, and seedlings are coming through. This is a sense of the cycles going into the growth phase that comes after the conflict phase, I think. And lovers. Okay. So for some of you, you'll really sort of know you're coming into who you are and what you're doing when, you either fall in love, you find the person that's right for you, that kind of unity and so forth. Or, you may literally just sort of see, like spring has sprung, lovers are around, you hear love songs, all that kind of thing. It depends very much on how much of this connects to your love life as well, I think. Let's see some astrology or numerology to also help you on your path. Conjunction, I'm going to put that there. I do think for some of you, this is a cycle that you're going to do over and over in your life, I think, because you're a peacemaker, a negotiator, a change maker, you have the gravitas. But I do think it's going to bring a significant relationship in if you aren't already in one. And I think it's also the energy of what you do. You're bringing people together. You're unifying people rather than having them sit in their separate camps. So it's a bit of both. We will have a look at the planets for that. But first, let's get one other card. 8. There's hard work involved in all of this. It is hard work, this stuff. But again, you have the gravitas, you have the grounding to do it. It also could bring you material success. 8 can bring material success. I'm just going to shuffle, just did that. I'm just going to deal out till I get planets for the conjunction. So there's a lot of cards in this deck, so bear with me while I wait till I deal out the first 2. Mars, okay. So there's definitely things about action, ambition and so forth associated with this. Could mean some significant, male energy around this for you. And Chiron, okay. That makes sense. To bring this together is healing where the ambitions were tearing apart. You are a peacemaker. That's part of the core of you, and that's part of your victory. You are going to heal people with this. But I also think if you have any sort of issues around sort of the divine masculine or authority figures or whatever, this whole process that you do is going to heal that for you because you're stepping up. And remember, we sort of saw there was sort of someone who could be an authority figure that you have to convince. I think that they may become your biggest champion. So to finish off, I just want to see what kind of archetype you start to manifest as you have this victory, pile 3. And I do think for you it's a victory, one of many, of a similar sort of thing, but let's just sort of see the most upcoming one, what sort of archetype energy you could then be bringing into the world. The ancestor. Okay, this is why we've got like faith, we've got Saturn. This may well be in your blood. You may well come from almost a lineage of that sort of thing. There could be ancestors who are also peacemakers or warriors, like it kind of could be either. This is ancient. You're bringing something very ancient in. This is why you're able to do it. Very, very old soul. And I think ancestors always, there's a reverence, there's a gravitas to the ancestors. We talk about, like respecting, our ancestors. In First Nations in Australia, they talk about, showing respect to elders past and present. There's something about the gravitas, as I say, of that kind of energy. So you're really going to embody that. People more and more are going to look to you for that sort of sober and unifying energy. So it's part of you. It's part of your blood. That's why it's come up in the reading that was connected to the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra. So you are the sort of people the world needs desperately at the moment. So I say more power to you. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.